good afternoon. I'm Sally Monastery, and I'm the president of Scripps Fine Arts Foundation. And I would like to welcome you all to Scripps College this afternoon, and give a special thank you for Amy taking time out of her very busy schedule to meet with us, and to Maria Mancera, who made the arrangements for this meeting. And just a couple notes about what's ahead. On, I think it's a Thursday, April 9th, we will be having our annual senior studio visit, where we go visit the graduating art seniors, and they explain their projects to us, and we give them a stipend as a gift from the Fine Arts Foundation to hopefully use for some art supplies or whatever they wish. So that'll be on April 9th, so watch your newsletter for that. And then on April 14th, we again welcome Elizabeth Turk. Some of you may have been to our program in the fall. This time she'll be talking about the very interesting sculpture that she created for the new science building, which is that way. And so that will be very interesting on April 14th, and that's co-sponsored, co-hosted by Williamson Gallery, and our sponsor for that meeting is Suzanne Lynch. Without further ado, we welcome Amy today. She's, if anybody knows anything about Scripps College, I think it's Amy, because I think you've been here how many years? 33. 30, I would say 30. So she's served in a lot of different capacities, and I think brings a very broad view of the campus and what it needs. So we're very happy to welcome you.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm thrilled that you're at Scripps College. Thank you all for coming and joining us for this. So yes, as Sally said, it is hard to believe that I've been here for 33 years. And you all know that I started when I was just about 7 or 8 years old. But I started, just a brief history of me, I started as a faculty member in the psychology department. And during that time, we had a new position as an associate dean of faculty. And you all know very well, several of you, Michael Lampkin. He was the dean of faculty at that time. And it was a half-time position, and he invited several of us to apply for that position, and I thought, oh, it's about student academic affairs, just what I love doing. So I applied, and I got that and did that for 6 years, and then I went back to the faculty, happy as could be, and then I was on the search committee for a new dean of faculty, and somehow became the new dean of faculty. But I did not apply for that. And so I did that for several years, and during that time there were a couple of departures from the president, and I became the interim president for the two different times. And then most recently I became the 11th president of Scripps College. Well, I will tell you all, I never had any intention of, one, going into the administration, let alone being a president, but I do this from a place of pure love and joy about Scripps College. I don't want to be a president anywhere else, don't want to be anywhere else. I actually went as an undergrad to Occidental College, loved it, got a great education, and when I applied to be at Scripps, I thought, well, this is great, it's another liberal arts college. And then I got here, and it being a women's liberal arts college, I truly felt I had found my home. And I said, I will never leave, and they may never be able to kick me out of here. So I am pleased that you are here. It is such an exciting time for Scripps. As you know, next year, the 26-27 academic year is our centennial celebration. And I know if Ellen Browning Scripps was kind of looking down from there, she would just have this big smile on her face, because I think Scripps College became everything she envisioned and even more. It is a phenomenal educational environment for women, but it is also beautiful, and it is a home away from home, and it serves all of the goals and missions that she set forward when she gave that initial gift to create Scripps College. So it is an honor to be the president. And it is an honor to be able to talk to you today about our Centennial Plaza project. And so I have a number of slides that I will go through, and if you want to ask questions during, don't hesitate. If they get to be too many and I'm getting off kilter, then I'll say to wait till the end. Some of them I may know the answers to, and others I might not, but I'd be glad to write them down if I don't know something that you'd like to find out more about. So, where did this all begin? So, this began such a long time ago. We've bought various properties. We have the Performing Arts Center, we have the gallery, so we have our historic campus, which you can see there, but what we realized is we had grown over the years. We had started much smaller, and then we slowly grew and grew and grew, and so our land grew outside of the enclosed walls, but we realized we were doing it in somewhat of a less organized fashion, and so we started a master planning process to really think about what do we need and where do we need it. And that's what's led to this vision of the Centennial Plaza project. And I'm going to go through a number of things that we're actually moving forward on, and then a number of things that are long-range, aspirational ones, and if we get the money to do so. But we got very fortunate because a number of years ago, remember the CGU art building? Everybody know we're on East 10th Street. I will argue, anybody who's from CGU, don't get mad at me. It wasn't the most beautiful of buildings. I didn't say it was ugly, I just said it wasn't the most beautiful. But we at Scripps had wanted to purchase this building for as long as I've been here. Actually, I remember James Manifold, prior treasurer, had said years and years and years ago, how can we get that building? And CGU did not want to sell it. They were using it. It was their art building. And I actually learned quite a bit about it as we were buying it. They built that building not to be not beautiful, but to be inward focused. So it didn't have windows because at the time that it was built, the idea was for artists to actually look inward and not have people peering in on them. So it was intentionally built that way. So CGU came to us a year ago and said, we are interested in selling. We want to bring you in as the first right of refusal because it is in the Scripps land area. We had not intended to buy a building at that time, but it was an opportunity that we couldn't, and with the brilliance of our Board of Trustees and their vision, knew that we needed to take advantage of that opportunity. So we purchased that building. Prior to that, a little bit of backwards thinking, we had plans for probably, I don't know, Bruce would know this better than I do, the last 30 years to build a dance building. And at multiple times we had made some progress, and we had even drawn up the plans, and it was going to be located, for those of you who know where Garrison is, there's a parking lot behind that. And the dance building, whenever we could raise enough money, was going to be there. After we bought the CGU art building, we realized that, I shouldn't say we, an architect realized that if you put the dance building on the back side of the CGU art building that we now label the East 10th Street building, we could save a significant amount of money and have everything we wanted in the dance building as we had planned behind Garrison. And so we were able to, after about 30 years, find a way to build the dance building. And so I'm going to go through and let you see that work. But that is the impetus for our movement forward, as well as our master planning process, which is allowing us to connect the historic campus of Scripps, which you are in now, to what we call the Centennial Plaza project or the Arts District. So here is, and the little red dot doesn't work on a TV, so I'm not going to be able to point out with the little red. But what you'll see here is the Centennial Plaza, the entire Centennial Plaza, and the view is looking east. So if you were on the other side, Dartmouth looking this way. And the lettering is too small, and I'm going to give you more information about each of those areas. So here is Garrison. Can you hear me when I'm not? I don't know if you can hear me. Here is where the dance building will be, and here is Honnold Gate. So we're in the interior. Here's Honnold Gate looking west, even though it's the east view. And if you can't see the wording, this is all the various master planning of everything that we eventually want to do. But what we are working on, and I'll give you more information about, is dance and the renovation of the East 10th Street building, formerly known as CGU. So this is just an aerial view of the same, without the words and everything, but what it will eventually look like once all parts of the Arts District and the Centennial Plaza are done. So just to clarify the Arts District, if you don't know, in this area already are the Williamson Gallery, is the art program, and is our music program of Garrison. So by putting the dance building in the same area, this becomes our arts district. And it's very intentional because what we will do is move from the arts district through the campus, humanities, social sciences, to science. And so thinking how this mission and value follows what Scripps is doing for our own priorities, what we really think is critical about the interdisciplinary and the critical nature of the arts to everything that we do. So here is some information about the 10th Street dance, the 10th Street building and our dance building. So just to give you a little bit of information. So the 10th Street, that's what it looks like existing. So again, this is pretty hard without doing this, but here is what the existing is. This is the CGU art building. This was where they had their ceramics and their kilns and a whole lot of more or less garbage outdoor area. I mean, they used it for garbage, not in a bad way, but they used it for garbage, and then they had outdoor work. And then there was a parking lot where you couldn't find a parking spot. Well, it used to be a parking lot. It's no longer a parking lot. So this was what it looked like. And here is what you'll get to see pictures of what it will really look like. But here is where the 10th Street building will be classrooms, faculty offices, lab spaces, community conference rooms, and then the dance building will be behind it. So you'll see here's East 11th, Columbia, and 10th Street. And what you can see over here is the dance building will add close to 36,000 square feet, and the 10th Street building about 34,000. So it's a massive amount of property for Scripps College in terms of what it is adding. So this is the beautiful picture, I think. When I step over there, can you hear me? Yes. Okay, all right. My family would say everybody can hear me in rooms far beyond where I am. So this is what the East 10th Street building will look like. And what you'll note is that what we do at Scripps is always, I'm proud to say, is beautiful. We don't just build a building, we build a building to fit and to not just be an outlier. So this massing will match Garrison, so there's the connection there. And then here is parallel and aligns with Humanities, and so across the street. So it's intentionally doing both things. And so here you've got 10th Street, here you've got Columbia, and then back over here is where the dance building. The East 10th Street building will be a 2-story building, and the dance building will actually be a 3-story building. The East 10th Street building will be done and ready for use in fall of 26. Probably not, I know, exactly, yes, it's great. Probably not right away at the beginning of the semester, but during that fall. And the dance building will be ready in spring of 27. And part of this is we are fast tracking it because what we want is for both of these to be done during the Centennial celebration year. But the massive change is what, if you just happen to be walking around Scripps and see this building doesn't look like this yet, but what it looks like is so very different from the CGU building because you just see like 30 windows that never existed before because we are putting in windows in all of these locations. So for the indoors part, so here are just some examples. This will be the entry lobby to the East 10th Street building. It'll be gorgeous and very Scripps-like. And here's just as an example of the aesthetic of classrooms. So as I said, we have grown slowly over time, and we're pretty much at a good, where we want to be. We're about 1,150 students, somewhere around that. We are kind of maxed out of the space that we currently have. So the additional classrooms, the additional faculty offices also will allow alternative space to then be used differently. So for example, the psychology department, which is currently in Steele Hall, which is on Dartmouth and 11th, is going to move into the East 10th Street building. And then multiple levels, like probably 7 or 8 offices in Steele Hall, will then be available. And so again, our main goal is as center of campus as possible for all academic and non-academic issues, more toward the periphery of campus. So here is the east entry to the building. So if you're right here looking that way, you'll see that here is going to be a door, and that's more or less across from Honnold Gate in that area. So if Honnold Gate is here, across that will be this entry door to the East 10th Street building, and then you'll see this is actually an elevator shaft, and then here will be where the dance building is. And as we always do, we will have patios and outdoor spaces. So here is a central patio that will be kind of in the middle part of the building. So here's the dance building. I always get a big smile on my face. As I said, we have had a dance building on a strategic plan probably for about 30 years. And we simply just couldn't find the funding and the way to make it work. And I have to say that when I came in to be officially as president, I said to our team, we are either going to build a dance building or we are going to be done building a dance building. Like we actually have like money sitting in an account from, all these small gift here, small gift there. And so I said, I want to build a dance building, but by the time I'm done being the president, we will have made a decision one way or the other. It's not fair to the dance faculty, it's not fair to anybody, because if you know right now, our dance is over here in Vita Nova, and every time there's some need to change something, we say, well, we don't want to change anything because that would be a waste of money, right? Because we're going to build a dance building. Well, after 30 years, that's a long time not to do anything. So I am thrilled to say that we are building the dance building. We're also absolutely thrilled. Carolyn Lake, who is an alum of Scripps College who recently passed away, had committed a large amount of her philanthropy to Scripps College. And so she has 3 foundation officers of her foundation. And the main goal that they wanted to do was beautification of the campus. And they were thinking of that as, the shrubbery and the landscape and all of this. And we were able to convince them that this is the way to beautify the campus, that it really would make a significant and impactful difference. And they absolutely agreed, and they had made a $5 million, and then they added a $10 million gift. So they are the lead donors for the dance building, and it will be called, and I'm very happy to say, the Carolyn Lake Foundation, or the Carolyn Lake Dance Building. So in honor of her, it's really, really quite wonderful. So the 2 floors, and then the upstairs, and I'll show you a picture, that will be a large conference room to have all kinds of meetings, to have different kinds of events on the top floor, which has an absolutely stellar view that way toward the mountains. It's really going to be gorgeous. So here is the dance building. This is going to be the Studio A, and here's what it would look like during a classroom setting. And then it's a black box, so you can move everything around, and so that will be, as an example, during a performance. And what I think is still, I guess I would say, cute, is that all the time that we have had dance, and we have lots of dance majors and dance minors and students taking dance, we have never had a second space. So one dance class can take only one at a time. And if there's a dance class going on, students can't practice, faculty can't work on their scholarship, et cetera. And so now we will have a primary practice studio where classes can take place, or if there's something taking place in the other studio, they can use this as a practice space. So it's going to be absolutely wonderful and gorgeous. This is the 3rd floor, that top floor, which will be, the large conference room with the north-facing views. It'll be a really important space for Scripps College. We currently have the Hampton Room above the Malott Commons. We use that all of the time. It is over-impacted, and so now we will have 2 wonderful spaces to have larger kinds of events. So now we move into some additional master planning things. So that's what we are working on. that is what we have the funding to do. And as I said, during the 26-27 year, we will have those 2 buildings set. But for the entire master planning and the Centennial Plaza itself and the full arts district, we have lots more ambition. So I just want to show you some renderings of the additional elements to the arts district. So this is a dance building water feature. As if you know Scripps College, we have water features all throughout campus. I think something like 21 water features already exist at Scripps, many of them located next to residence halls. There will be 2 water features eventually in the arts district, and this is one of them, which is really pretty. It kind of, when it will be enacted, it looks like this sculpture is floating on water, so it really will be quite beautiful. This is the Plaza Gateway. So here is Honnold Gate and looking out. And so another really wonderful thing you'll see here, or you should immediately notice, is there are no cars. So 2 existing streets that now allow cars to travel eventually will become pedestrian walkways. That's 11th and Columbia, not the whole of Columbia, but down kind of towards CMC, and then it will become a street again. But so we've gone through all the master planning. The city has approved all of that. Again, it will take us some time to get there, but it will make for, a seamless entree between the historic campus and our arts district, as well as lots of walking spaces and lots of other places for getting together. So here is what we call the Forum. Over here will be the new Williamson Gallery. Where's Aaron? I hope you're around to see it. So this will be a revised Williamson Gallery at some point. And then we will have this forum area where we can do dance performances. Students, faculty, and staff can simply hang out. We can have other kinds of performances right there with seating, etc. Here is our Sculpture Grove, Arboretum, and Arts Walk. So literally traversing through the Arts District will be an arts walk. Lots of trees, sculptures. If you know Scripps College, we have sculptures, throughout campus, and so we will have them here as well. Eventually be really, really beautiful. This is the second water feature that will eventually be added on. So our gallery water feature. And this is the Honnold Gate renovation. So what you'll notice here, first and foremost, Honnold Gate is Honnold Gate and will remain Honnold Gate. Now, the early discussions were about moving Honnold Gate a little bit, and the intelligence and supreme vision of our Board of Trustees was absolutely no. So Honnold Gate remains Honnold Gate, but what we will do is have an opening. So it is a seamless entree between the historic campus and the arts district, because we don't want it to seem like 2 campuses. This is now, the whole entirety is our campus. And so this will remain the iconic Honnold Gate. There will be opening, and it will just go through Scripps Way, et cetera, in terms of the existing to the new. And so here is what we're calling Scripps Way, which is just the name of the street that will be pedestrian walkway. There will be a bioswell. So as you all know, when it rains, which it doesn't do very much at all anymore, we hope it rains more because that would be good for the climate. But when it rains, there's a lot of water that just puddles up, and so a bioswell will be there, so it will actually work to water through the plants and organizations, and so it will not lead to puddles, etc. In conclusion, 2 eras, 1 campus, connecting the quads, the gardens, the courts, and pathways. And so, as you will see, here, Honnold Gate into the arts quad, and then the arts quad over here to science will be there. And so this will be, at some point in the future, a full, seamless connection between what you're on now, the historic campus, with our Arts District and Centennial Plaza project. So that's what I have, and I am happy to answer any questions or give you more information about the project in general. Yeah?
I am curious what percentage of students do take art or dance or participate.
Yes. So I don't have I don't want to give you, I could make up a number, but I won't. But we have approximately 8 to 10 students a year who major, the same number who minor, and then a very significant number of our students who take dance, something like 40%-ish. Don't quote me on that, but I know it's close to 50%. And what I found most interesting is that many of them had not danced before. Which, right, you would think you're coming to college, and if you had danced before, you would dance. But our dance program is just one of those very welcoming, like, ooh, I'd never been a dancer. And they say, but you can. So you don't have to be an expert to do it. We did a groundbreaking, when was it, just last weekend? Suzanne? Yeah, I've lost track of things. A week ago Friday, of the dance building and the East 10th Street building, and Kevin Williamson, one of our dance faculty, who's just absolutely phenomenal, did a talk and talked about the impact of dance. And the department is really one about, it's dance, but it's the interdisciplinarity of the body and the movement and the health and the well-being. And they do such a phenomenal job that science majors are taking dance and our historians are taking dance. And so it's really become quite, an area where somebody says, come take a dance class with me. And somebody says, I don't dance. And they said, it doesn't matter. And so, which is really nice. And only Pomona and Scripps have formal dance programs. So we get a lot of cross-registration from the other colleges as well.
Amy, will the wall around Scripps that is now along Columbia, and will that stay or will that come down?
Right now it's staying. So the only change to the wall that we have planned, was right there, is that this part of the wall will be opened for the seamless entry, but we are not planning on removing the rest of the wall that is currently there.
It looks like that opening is right behind the Drake wing. Is the Drake wing coming down?
Nope, not at the, nope. It's literally, so if Honnold's here, it's just right now, just for the pathway. And so it's not moving any buildings at this point. We still do need to figure out what we're going to do with the Drake wing, but that's a different conversation. But no, there's no buildings that need to come down in order to create this opening.
Yeah. And is there a ceramics studio just north of Williamson?
North. Yes, it's north, right, Erin? Yes, yes. Yes, so that's when I talk about the arts, I include ceramics in that. But yes, we have the Lincoln Ceramic Studio. We have all the art buildings. We have the Williamson Gallery, so that's in Lang, which is part of Steele. So the building is Steele, and then Lang. All of our arts are in there, and we do have the ceramic studio. Yeah, so it's really wonderful to think it's really an arts district. And in today's day and age, to me, as others are not wanting to, but minimizing the arts, we're leaning in. Because what we find at Scripps is that, one, our students absolutely want to be involved in the arts, but what we really see is lots of double majors or majors and minors. So, they're art and science, they're art and politics, they're dance and math. It's really very common. And so to think about a really well-rounded, interdisciplinary liberal arts student, it seems to us just an ideal way to keep moving forward.
Thinking further about that quadrant, what will happen to Steele Hall? Will it remain part of Scripps?
Yes. It should be, but no. So Steele Hall will remain Steele. Will remain Steele Hall. And so right now we have our philanthropy departments on the top floor. On the second floor is our psychology. Downstairs is the IT. And what we'll do on that second floor, where we're moving out some of the academic disciplines, is, for example, right now we're renting CGU houses for our financial services people. We've outgrown our space, and CGU fortunately has some housing. So we have been putting people in temporary housing. And so what we'll be able to do is move those people back into Scripps space. But Steele will be the end of, on Dartmouth, will be the end of the Scripps landscape and property.
But it stays within the college.
Absolutely, yes.
One more follow-up. Okay. Will the Scripps press remain in steel? I think that's where it is.
Yes. At this point, we don't have any changes planned for that. It'll stay where it is. It's kind of right. It's in steel, but on the corner of Lang. So Lang is the building here. It has all the art, and the Scripps press is kind of right here at the juncture where Steele Hall and Lang meet.
Okay.
So it's a corner, and all of this has been psychology and art history. I'm not leaving you out, Bruce. Art history and psychology, and then here is all of art with the ceramics and Williamson Gallery, and the press will stay where it is at that corner juncture.
It'd be nice to fold it into the formal arts district.
Well, but I will say that is the arts district, because remember again, that's where art is. And so the whole Centennial Plaza project, everything from Columbia to Dartmouth, because that's where Garrison is also on Dartmouth, that is all part of the arts district. So that entire area. So this is Steele, and this is Lang. So, but here is, this is all, everything here to here is the arts district, the arts quad. So here's, Baxter, which now houses Erin and her team for offices. And then the gallery, here's Lang. Like right about here is where the press is, like right in that corner area. And then Garrison and what we're building.
Yeah, I've been trying to visualize from the other pictures, there's all these landscapes and trees and walkways, and Baxter Hall doesn't seem to be in those pictures. Here it is.
Well, that's the broad master planning processes, in 15 years, where we would probably convert all of that to the new Williamson Gallery. Yeah, so here, that's kind of where Baxter is, and so when we eventually are able to renovate the gallery, we would incorporate all of that into Baxter and the gallery.
Yes. What about the cars that now park?
Parking, always a good. So the city asks us that every day. We have plenty of parking. Not that anybody on the campus agrees with me, but according to the city and the needs that we have plenty of parking. It's all completely, we don't have that much parking. All we'll be doing is losing the parking behind Garrison. We've added additional spaces already in Steele Hall, and we also own McAllister, which is right now where the religious life is from TCC, the Claremont Colleges. We bought McAllister several years ago. TCC rents it from us, and at some point we will make use of that building, but we don't need it now because we're doing this. But there is parking there, and there could be more parking there. I will tell you that we had grand visions of underground parking. Some of the other colleges have it. It's wonderful. It is massively expensive, and we were not able to fund it. That would be another way. But we also, what we have is underground parking over by the sciences. So for the campus, we meet the needs of parking. I think if you ask several of the people, like Maria and I will look for parking in the morning and can't find parking, and we say, darn, there's not enough parking. But we do meet that, and we continue to think about how could we expand some parking.
Yes. And I also want to share that I was in the class of 1964, and I was a math major, and I took dance.
Yay!
And every morning on my morning walk, I think about keeping my spot up.
Very good.
Miss Richardson said, keep your spots up. They were supposed to be our...
Now I'm putting my shoulders back. Yes. Well, great. Thank you for sharing that.
I have a small aside. This is probably about 10 years ago. 5 members of the Fine Art Foundation Board had all been in the Saturday morning dance classes with Miss Rich. All through the 60s, we all took dance class. I think Beth is one of them. And
Well, I don't know, and I don't know if any of you know Denise Nelson Nash, who's the vice president, but is a Scripps alum and is a dancer. I mean, she doesn't dance as much, but I mean, left Scripps and went off to professionally dance for a while and took all kinds of dance classes. And she spoke at our groundbreaking also, and it was her stories of the faculty, and it was wonderful. And then if any of you know either Ronnie Brosterman or Gail Abrams, who were here, long-time tenured faculty member in dance. Ronnie was at the groundbreaking. Gail, unfortunately, couldn't make it, but there is such a community of dance and appropriate just admiration for dance that we are just thrilled. And if you don't know, this spring we're bringing the Martha Graham Dance Studio to Garrison. So Abdiel Jacobson, who is one of our dance professors, has worked with them, and they will be coming to Scripps. So we'll be able to have not simply dance classes and dance recitals of our students, but really wonderful performances of dance as well.
Amy, will the Beatrice Richardson name come from down here up there?
I don't know. I know that I've heard talking about that, and it is not exactly clear, but I think that there will be a space designated as that. But they haven't figured out what, and probably because what they're first going to do is see who else might be able to contribute and then honor a space with that name.
It's nice to hear a little bit about the thinking around Baxter, which also houses a significant portion of the college's collections. And I just was curious if thinking about the fine arts collection is part of the...
Absolutely. So that if and when we are able to renovate the Williamson Gallery, storage would be also a part of that.
I was pleased to hear you talk about the emphasis on the arts, because it seems like 20 years ago, Scripps was all about improving STEM. And so I was interested to hear more of the thinking behind the curriculum, not just specifically classic, but the focus of the curriculum and how that plays into these things.
So absolutely, and I really want to say that even though we have spent, because we built a science building, we never weren't thinking about the arts. What is interesting about today's student is they are very interested in curricularly and academically the sciences. Something like 40 to 50% of our students are now majoring in science. And everybody, so some of our faculty who are in the humanities or the social science say, quit recruiting students to major in science. And we say we don't recruit students for what they're going to major in. We recruit students to come to Scripps College, and they are interested in the sciences. But as I said earlier, those same students who are interested in majoring in science want to take dance, want to do art, want to be in the orchestra, and that's the kind of student that we are recruiting. The one who wants to combine and be interdisciplinary and think about how academic subjects build upon each other, but most importantly, the methodology that goes into those to be the creative thinkers of the world to solve the next wave of complicated problems for the world. So I like what you said, but we were putting resources into science because we needed a new science building because we were so impacted. But simultaneously, we knew the next step was going to be the arts. And so I'm just really glad that I think you're exactly right. I'm glad we can talk about it like this so it doesn't seem like all we were caring about was science.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you for coming.